very fast. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube, and now it's your turn. It's time for clicking and texting and tagging and let people know that Dr. Jennifer Gramith is in the classroom. Yay! So we're going to be talking about this cleanse that I've been telling you all about. I wish I could do a show and tell, but I'm not. I'm going to spare everybody. Not going to do a show and tell. So let me make sure that I have everything open here and that everything is, no, I don't see it on my, there, it says we do. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I can see you were live.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start the record button and move some things around here. You see, we get started talking, Dr. Gramith,
Yep.
and I just lose my place. Here we go. I'm going to start the record. For those of you who are tuning in because you know Dr. Jennifer Gramith is in the classroom, get ready because we're going to talk about the liver and gallbladder cleanse. So fasten your seatbelts, get in the moment. It's time to dance. Here we go. Yeah.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in to the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as some of you may know, that recently, I would say in the last 3 months, gosh, I can't believe time has gone so fast. I had been told that I needed to take out my gallbladder. It was a very painful time, but at the same time, I had my partner in crime, Dr. Jennifer Gramith, saying, you know, since you're waiting for the results anyway, let's just consider doing a cleanse. And when I started doing the cleanse, as sick as I was feeling, I mean, I couldn't even eat. It was just, I knew that I was doing the right thing. The results came back that I needed to have a gallbladder taken out stat. I needed to have a doctor consultation to remove my gallbladder stat. And instead I said, you know what, I need to finish this. There's so much that I learned during that time. And I'm so grateful that we have doctors like Dr. Jennifer Gramith of Rightway Health and Wellness. And every time she comes on, her phone doesn't stop ringing. It keeps ringing because you guys understand that when you see truth and when you see a doctor who cares so much, you know that it doesn't matter where you live because they have telemedicine, that you can call her when you need a good doctor, and her team that's there. Just absolutely love them. And so since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I'm glad that Dr. Jennifer Gramith is here to talk about the upcoming gallbladder liver fast cleanse. Yay. Thank you so much for being on to the classroom.
Thank you. It's my pleasure as always to be on here. And, you know, Lillian, when you called me and you were having that issue, you know, I've dealt with that as well in the past. And this is what saved me from having to surgically remove my gallbladder. You want to try to keep all of your organs if possible. They all have a critical purpose. And so, when you have your gallbladder removed, typically a person will develop diabetes or liver disease or certain red blood cell disorders because they don't have that gallbladder. Everything works together. And so, you are very fortunate to just catch it just in time and to be able to reverse that. And you should, try to do that always. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. You're probably the only person I know to get really excited about a liver cleanse. But when I was so much, yeah.
Yeah, I was really sick. I think it's like the story of the lion that had the thorn in the paw and the little mouse took the thorn. Do you remember that little childhood story?
Yes.
That's basically how I felt. I really felt sick, but and this is a little side note. When you have white poop, you get really diligent about learning about the body and why that happens. Like the first time that happened, I went, was that what? Yeah. The second time it happened, I'm like, I'm going to look for it because I was like going down, and this time I'm just going to turn around and check it out. And it was white. And then I thought, And then the third time it happened, I'm like, what the? Need to call Dr. Jennifer Gramith. I started Googling. Yeah. I started researching. I went to YouTube University and I started looking at what does our body tell us? What is our bowel movements? What are they telling us? And it was interesting. I knew exactly what it was before I even reached out to you or Dr. Lorraine Day, who I thought she was going to say, suck it up, buttercup. Yeah. But she said, go to the doctor, get out your gallbladder. So even everybody that, everybody has a different opinion. Right. So let's talk about what causes the gallbladder to break down and how important are the liver and gallbladder functions? Because everybody says, oh, just take it out. Take it out. You don't need it. But that's not true. Go ahead.
No, that's not true. So there's lots of different things that can cause dysfunction of the liver and gallbladder, and because they're kind of tied together. So if the gallbladder is acting up, the liver is stressed out. The liver has over 500 processes, anywhere from, immunity against infections to, the synthesis of proteins and cholesterol. It's what excretes the bile, that your body needs. It regulates clotting. There's so many critical things going on with the liver. So when the liver gets overwhelmed due to your exposures to environmental toxins, your hormones being out of balance, that can affect it. Your liver is one of your largest glands, and we don't think of the liver as a gland, right? But it is the largest gland. And it's critical for health, and it's, it can rejuvenate itself very quickly if it's given the right environment. Mm-hmm. And so you always have to get down, if you want a cure for anything, whether it's, having a gallbladder attack, if you want to get the cure, you got to find the cause. Mm-hmm. And so, what was your cause? Was it due to hormones being out of balance, environmental toxins? Was it emotional? Emotions have a lot to do with the liver. I rarely see the liver dysfunction and gallbladder dysfunction without anger and resentment being a part of the issue. And so you want to address those things, and see if that is it. And that's a really good time when you're doing a liver gallbladder cleanse to reflect on any kind of anger that you're suppressing and resentment that you may be suppressing, and it may be towards yourself, it may be towards someone else, it may be towards what's going on in our world. I think we're going to see a lot of people need some liver gallbladder detox with what's going on in our world, and it's very frustrating to us. So, but there's things that you can be aware of just in your, like we've talked so many times about just labs. When you go and have your random labs, if we had looked at your labs probably prior to, we may have saw some elevation in your ALT, AST, the albumin, all of the things that, kind of warn us that there's something going on with the liver and the gallbladder, and could have prevented you having the attack in the first place. And so it's critical that you know what's going on with your body.
Yeah.
And I just went yesterday, had a full-fledged another, set of labs done, had an antibody test done for an IgG, and, food allergies and sensitivity test done too. Those are critical things to know in order to be healthy. And so, so it can be caused for many different things. That's why it's best to get tested to know exactly what's caused yours and then correct that. But when you're in a crisis situation, okay, you've got to do something fast. And so that's why we're here today. And that's what we're talking about. And I highly recommend people doing this liver gallbladder cleanse. And we're going to talk about different ones, but at least once or twice a year as a preventative. And if you do that, you're not going to build up, and the sludge is not going to be in the gallbladder. You're not going to, develop a gallbladder infection, or a attack, and your liver is not going to be sluggish. That has everything to do with your cholesterol, everything. Every process in the body goes back to liver function, liver gallbladder. So it's critical.
Every system.
Every
system. That was what blew me away. What blew me away is to learn how ignored our liver is. We only think of the liver about, drinking alcohol, cirrhosis, or fatty liver disease from taking medication. We only think about the liver when it comes to things like that, but to learn that everything goes through the liver, our blood, every single system goes through our liver, and that many diseases or diagnoses go away once a cleanse happens and the liver can just regenerate and start over. And almost like I saw, as I was learning about and doing my own research, and this is before I reached out to, because it was very confusing. Once I reached out to you, I felt like, and now I need to learn more, because, everybody says, oh, just take it out, right? But then when you look in the right direction and you see someone say, if you have a gallbladder issue, these are some of the nutrients that you need to add, or your liver is sending, just pouring all that bile into your stomach. And so it doesn't matter if you have an attack or not. This liver gallbladder, I think I'm going to probably do it twice a year from this point on, because I felt so much better. It was amazing how well I felt just alone. First, it's a fast. The fast, I really did love giving my body the break. But let's talk about why we ignore the liver, and people aren't focused more on clearing out the liver when they have other diseases like arthritis or diabetes or things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So think about the liver gallbladder as your air conditioning system in your home. And, how often do you have to go and replace the filter, right? And so we don't go and just take the filter out when, it gets all clogged up, and just don't replace it, don't clean it out. Because it will destroy the whole system. And that's what we're trying to do. Remove your gallbladder. That's ludicrous. That's your filtration too. And so you just remove it, then this garbage just builds up into the body. You put yourself at risk for cardiovascular disease. Typically, gallbladder liver is not functioning properly, and that's why you develop type 2 diabetes. It definitely has a role in that, because the liver converts excess glucose to starch, in the body. So it has all of those processes. If you don't have a healthy functioning liver, nothing's going to work properly. So start always there. We've talked before in previous shows about, the skin issues. So when you start to see that you have skin issues, whether it's eczema or hives or whatever, or acne, you have to think, what's going on in my liver? Because the liver should have filtered whatever toxin is trying to come out through the skin. It should have filtered it out. Well, it didn't. Then the kidneys try to pick up the slack, and the kidneys got stressed out. And so now you have liver dysfunction, kidney dysfunction, and now you have this skin issue. And so your body will give you those signs of something's not quite right, but it has everything to do with diabetes, everything to do with any inflammatory process in your body. So you should always start with the liver gallbladder cleanse. And, I see it when I test people all day long. The detoxification pathways are completely blocked and they just feel miserable. Well, they're taking all of these antimicrobials and they're taking all these supplements or medications, and it's making them feel worse and worse because it's still, you haven't opened up the gates. So you're just killing off and stirring things up, and it has no place to go. And so definitely want to look at the liver function. And, we've just been focused in on, yes, fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver. Our first thing, doctors see fatty livers all the time, and it has nothing to do with alcohol. It has a lot to do with the standard American diet, has a lot to do with the amount of stress that we have today. And we really need to be addressing the cause so that people can get the cure for sure.
Absolutely. One of the things that I did, I don't know if you told me to do it. I think you may have told me to do it, or my local doctor told me to do it, but I got off all my supplements. That was the first thing I did, was get off all my supplements. And I just, and then you told me to start fasting, and I started doing the fasting. I had to wait for the results anyway. So by the time I started fasting, I felt so much better because I was throwing up. I had my bowels were messed up. I had a fever, and my body temperature is usually very low, like a 97.8. That's my normal body temperature because I have a thyroid condition, and it was 101.8. It was high for me. And so I just thought it was like a little bug that was going through. But look at your poop, people. Your poop tells you a lot. So I'm just being real here. I could be all like, I'm not going to tell you about it. But if I didn't tell you about it, then you wouldn't know to look for it, right? I didn't know to look for it until it started looking at me. And I'm like, whoa. Okay. So with that in mind, getting off supplements, I've learned just recently that a lot of the pharmaceutical industry companies are buying the supplement industry. Should we be concerned about some of the supplements not being as good as we think they are?
That's been a concern. There is a lot of toxic supplements out there, a lot of over-the-counter things that you can pick up at Walmart. They have a lot of chemical toxins. They have a lot of fillers in them and very minute amounts of the critical nutrient needed. So you are actually putting a lot of toxicity in the body. So you need to really be concerned with the sources that you're getting your supplements from. I am very diligent about checking with the companies, because I've had a history of, using a company for years, and then they start shifting and getting cheaper materials. And if you don't keep checking up, you don't realize that. And then, you're creating more of a problem than you're helping with that. So that's why you always want to go back and you use supplements to supplement what you can't get from your diet. Don't use supplements as your diet, which a lot of people try to do. I mean, I still have a lot of patients I'm trying to get them off of so many supplements to be dependent upon them. And get their diet changed. But, that's one of the hardest things to do. And they're just, we're creatures of habit, and we're lazy, we're really lazy at times. And I am guilty as well. I will take an extra enzyme and, instead of, eating the, high probiotic and enzyme foods. And so we all do that, but that's
Yeah.
really, we need to shift our minds. And that's the mental emotional component, you're dealing with there. You got to ask yourself, well, why am I eating the things that I'm eating, knowing that it is harmful for my body, but yet you do it anyway. And so,
Well, yeah, it's called slow suicide.
yeah. Mhm.
It really, let's call it what it is, because
Yeah.
if we know that the way I'm eating is going to lead to heart disease, or the way I'm eating is going to lead to diabetes, we need to sit with, and that's what we talk about in the I Am the Solution workshop, which the next one's going to be January 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Awesome.
And so, we talk about the mindset. Why are we doing this? Where was the original? So thoughts and emotions play a key role in what we're doing. And I know that during this cleanse, it was a really spiritual experience for me. I know that you were going through some difficult times during that time, and I kept texting you, and you were so good to respond every time. You were so good, and I really do. I just want to acknowledge how wonderful you were during that time for me, even though you had your own hands full with everything that was going on in your life. And so I'm very grateful for that. But the emotional aspect, you think, okay, is this going to work for me?
Mhm.
Am I, because this is what I was hit with, Dr. Gramith, during the whole entire decision and going through the cleanse. They called me irresponsible. And when I say they, people that allegedly love me, called me irresponsible. They told me that I was taking a gamble on my life, that I needed to go because my gallbladder can rupture. I researched that too. And it was like, nope, that, like, if you're in a car accident, maybe, but no.
Yeah.
And so I did all this research, but
ruptures.
yeah, maybe it was the appendix they were thinking, but my appendix was good. But and they said, oh, that may have to go out too. So I'm like, I had mentioned that to you, and they go, oh, that's their new protocol, right?
Yes. Any abdominal surgery, they take out the appendix right now. And that they used to do gallbladder like that. They used to take out your gallbladder, just for the slightest issue, because they really believe that you don't actually need it. No, you don't have to have it to live. It's not like the heart or the liver. If you, you remove it, you're dead. Okay. Yeah. But you do have to have it to live a healthy, optimal life. And so when you don't, you definitely have to supplement the rest of your life. You have to supplement enzymes. You have to stay away from certain fats, and it does affect you, your overall health. And it creates just the environment of inflammation, which you and I know leads to cancer and other types of chronic illnesses. So like I said, you always want to keep, God didn't put these organs in as spare parts. They all have a purpose, whether we understand it or not fully. And we don't. I mean, there's over 500 vital functions of the liver, and we only talk about a handful of them, because we really don't understand. And
we've taken it for granted, without a doubt.
A few years ago, it was only 400 functions. Now it's 500 functions. And so we're learning so much more about the human body and how everything is connected and works together. And when you pluck something out, it has a ripple effect that can be devastating and lower your quality of life. And so, I totally understand what you say when you say you had all the, voices out there saying you're irresponsible. And then you think, oh, am I? I mean, I went through that, with my husband who was sick and was in ICU and dealing with the doctors and them telling me every day that he's not going to make it. And, they sucked the hope right out of you. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, please don't be telling him these things, because if you take the hope from the patient, what do they have to fight for? And so I had to battle. I really had to battle with them. I was very fortunate that they were able to, or they were willing to listen to me and implement the things that I thought would help my husband. And I think it saved his life. And
what an angel you are to him. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was sweet last night. He was just saying that I'm so grateful that you were there, because so many people have lost loved ones and they don't have any advocate for them in the hospital. And so we got to stand up. We got to really research these things for ourselves. And, you got to be strong and wise. And what you did, the way you handled it was very wise. You didn't sit there doing nothing, and just waiting. You actually took action, and that was the best thing that you could have done.
Well, I knew that it would take time to see a doctor, and it would take time to go to have the surgery. So why, they say time heals everything. That's a bunch of bull. Time heals nothing. What we do at that time is crucial. That's what was crucial. And I felt like I was on borrowed time. And so I'm going to make the most out of that borrowed time before having to make a decision that's final. Because once I remove my gallbladder, I can't put it back.
Right. No.
Right. Okay. Nope. So with that in mind, the danger is one thing that I was facing. And so who can do this cleanse? By the way, the cleanse starts on oh gosh, I had the dates here.
November 8th, November 7th, we're going to start it, right? November 8th, we're going to meet.
Yes, we're going. Okay. So the fast starts on Thursday, the 11th.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 11th.
Yeah. The fast starts on the 11th. The cleanse ends on the 14th. So that would be Thursday to Sunday, because you definitely want to be home on Sunday. There's no negotiating that one, but you can be at work if you're doing light things, because you're going to be doing fasting. So you'll have broth and you'll have juice and you'll have water. And so doing that at work on a Thursday and doing that on work on a Friday, that's okay. But then on, the heavy duty stuff is going to happen on Saturday. And then on Sunday, hallelujah, then that's what happens on Sunday. So we're going to be getting together the Monday before so that we can make sure that we have our packets and that we have everything that we need to be successful. And one of the things that I do want to talk about a little bit more in detail before we get off the who can and who cannot do this is the emotional component of it. And that is why we're going to be meeting every day so that we can do a check-in and how you're feeling. And is this normal? Is it not normal? But who are the people that can do it? And who are the people who cannot do this?
Yeah. So, with the fast that we're going to be doing, you do have to be very careful with diabetics. It doesn't mean that they can't completely do it. A lot of them do totally fine with it, but they have to be very closely monitored during that time and making sure that their blood sugar is not spiking and dropping. Because they are fasting. They're doing a lot of either apple juice. I would probably have them do cherry instead of the unsweetened cherry instead of the apple, because all you're needing is the malic acid. That's what dissolves the sludge and the stones, and that's the whole purpose of that. And then we do apple cider vinegar, which is totally fine for them to do. A person that is in their, 4th stage cancer diagnosis that have already had some cachexia, you would not want to do this type of fast. There are other liver cleanses because that's very important in their healing process, is to get their liver functioning. But this is a very strong fast, and you wouldn't want them losing any more muscle mass. And so those would be the ones that I would be very careful to do, and maybe would do, a liver gallbladder cleanse that did not require not eating and fasting. And so that, those would be the ones that I can think of that would be, cautious.
One of the things I read is that if you're actively having an attack, that you shouldn't do this, but I was actively having an attack and I did it. I'm not saying that you should do it, because anybody who does this cleanse is responsible for their own clearing from their doctor, their own. If you are choosing to do this, you have done your own research and you're saying, I am being responsible here and I am choosing this for myself. Now, there is a cost to it. And if you're interested in learning more, you can email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com, and we'll, because there's going to be some coaching involved. There's going to be time that is involved. I know that Dr. Gramith is being so kind to do this with us. And so there's so many things that we just want to make sure fall, because when I was doing this, I was the only one doing this. And I was reaching out to Dr. Gramith at a time that her hands were really full. And I don't want, what I want is for us to feel like a community and go through this together and be successful. Because I can imagine, some people not knowing what to do, or the expectation of not knowing if this is normal or not normal. And so we want to be there for each other as a community. So is there anything else that you want to say? Oh, because another thing I was told was that if I do have gallbladder stones or kidneys or liver stones, that it's irresponsible to do this because it can get stuck in the tubes. Can you talk about how it all works together?
Yeah, so that's the whole point of doing the malic acid, so that does not happen. And the olive oil will really coat it so it slides right through. So when it's not done properly and kind of half in, half out type of thing, you can have some issues with that, and it gets stuck in the biliary duct and it causes excruciating pain. And so you definitely want to be careful. But if you follow the protocol and you do what you're told, exactly how you're told, that's not going to be an issue. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never had that happen. And so, but I have heard other people, that are not clients of mine that had experienced that, but they weren't doing it fully. And, they would do part of it, not the olive oil and the lemon. Well, every component of it is critical. So, and, they say that it's not, they told you that it wasn't, you weren't being responsible because, doing it with stones or gallstones, that they have to say that, or don't do it in an acute situation because of the liability. I mean, and typically you don't want to get to that point where you're having an attack and that's when you start it. But that is, what happens most time. Because people don't think ahead, they don't try to prevent it, they don't think it's going to happen to them. It just hits you out of the blue. It hit me out of the blue. I had no clue that I had a gallbladder issue.
Yeah.
And so I just doubled over one night, rushed to the ER, same thing. Doctor says we got to take it out. It's disease. It's never going to work properly. I said, well, stabilize me and send me home. If I can't get rid of it in 3 days, then I'll let you take it out. And that, that was our deal. So he gave me the pain meds and I happily took them. And I went home and I did this cleanse, and then I've never had another gallbladder attack. And
well, I did not do any pain medication because I don't know. I mean, I may have a stronger pain threshold. I don't know, but I remember I couldn't eat immediately as I was not eating as much. My body started repairing, because that's what happens when we don't eat. Our body actually gets to do the things that it does the best, which is to repair, to restore. And I was sleeping a lot. I slept. So I got sick, vomiting. I was vomiting on Sunday. And on Monday, which is my day that I do to prepare for the week and do the things, I don't have the class on a Monday or a Friday. And so that day I slept the entire day. And then I had a fever, which I never get a fever. And so this was like I was a little confused, but again, the icing on the cake that my body spoke to me, my body knew, what to do to alert me that there was a problem. Now, for those of you who don't even look at your poop speaks. It's like you be a poop whisperer, because it's time. You need to learn what your body looks like. And so I knew something was off when I slept, almost a 24-hour period. Yeah. But so that being said, the morning I woke up that I was going to go see the doctor, I was already fasting. I did not drink anything. I didn't take any supplements. Because I knew that if I was going to go to the doctor, they were going to order an ultrasound. I needed to be fasting. I was ready for blood work. I was ready to go. So I didn't have a lot of time.
Right.
So those are things that for those of you who are experiencing this right now, just know that these tests require you to be fasting. So be ready. I was like Cinderella ready for the ball. I was like ready to get this over with. And so with that in mind, there are some tests is there like blood work that you can do that will tell you that there's an elevated whatever, is that will say, yeah, you need to take this off, or you can.
So that's just a simple CBC CMP will give you information on what's going on with the liver, gallbladder. And then, like you said, looking at your stools, but so many Americans have dysfunction in their stools. And so there's, 7 different types, and you can go online and pull up the chart and you can look at that and what it should look like. And it will tell you also what it means when it doesn't look like normal stool. And, that's something I see all the time. I actually have an app that my clients have that they can actually put in what their poop look like that day. So I can see what's going on. Yeah. I mean, we get up close and personal. But it tells me a lot of information, looking at the pH in your urine, first morning urine tells you, what's going on and how much inflammation you have in the body. So there's so many, you can look at the eyes and look at the liver and gallbladder in the eyes. There's so many different ways that you can see dysfunction, in the body. But we just ignore it so many times. But you're always safe to do liver, gallbladder flush once or twice a year. And people should do it as a preventative, so if you want to have, a healthy circulatory system, healthy gut, healthy, immune system, you should do this on a regular basis to prevent all of those things. Because like I said, the liver is one of the most important organs that you have, and it's connected to so many systems. And when it goes down, everything goes down. And so, that is a huge problem. As a practitioner, we always start with looking at their liver, gallbladder function. And then we look at the colon. And you got, when you're doing this fast, you got to make sure that you're eliminating. And so some people may need enemas during the fast, or something like coffee enema will help to really flush out the liver, gallbladder during the fast. A lot of people do it. Some people don't need it. I don't think you did it. Did you do a coffee?
No, I did not, but I read about it once I started doing the cleanse, that there is a suggestion that you do a colon cleanse before and after, or immediately after do a coffee, but I didn't do any of that. How important is that?
It depends on the individual. And so if they have a history of chronic constipation, you probably should do that, or give them, sometimes I use, because getting a lot of people to do the enemas is near impossible. So I'll use Cape Aloe. I'll just make sure that their bowels are moving. That's critical. Otherwise, they're going to have, they're going to feel really, really ill if they're not eliminating.
And that's why we're getting together prior to the actual day. I think we're getting the date that we're getting together is the week before, the Monday before, which is the 8th at 7 p.m. We're going to do a Zoom call. And these are for people, if for those of you, I'm charging $149, and that's for the entire thing, but that does not include the things that you need to buy to do this. Like some of the things that you'll need to buy is either apple juice or cherry juice, depending if you're diabetic. You'll need I made my own broth. I do not like store broth, but sometimes I use it if I'm in a pinch. But I can teach you how to do your own broth. So now you're having something organic, or you can have it in which the ingredients that are in there, and it's so easy to do. Right. We have gotten so lazy when we buy broth. It's just I do it and I freeze it. as a matter of fact, I have 2 broths because I'm going to make is in the freezer, and I took both of them out because I knew I was going to make some food for a special meal for Robert, whose birthday is tomorrow.
Oh,
So happy
great.
birthday, Robert.
Happy birthday.
And we'll need Epsom salt or magnesium citrate, which Epsom salt, it's really inexpensive. And you need to get the Epsom salt that is for internal use as well. So if it says do
Right.
not drink, then
Don't do
that's
the
not the
bath
right one.
salts. Yeah.
That's right. Apple cider vinegar. How important is the raw mother? Is it raw or mother
Very important. Yeah. I
Okay.
wouldn't use anything but that.
with mother? Okay. And then lemon, you need lemon, and you need real, pure, extra virgin olive oil, not the
Yeah.
stuff that's mixed. And how do you know it's the right olive oil, Dr. Gramith?
Yeah, that's a good question. It needs to be full spectrum and no GMO and all organic, and you can get it off a Thrive Market fairly reasonable. That's where I order it.
Yeah.
The lemon juice has to be fresh too. Don't use concentrated lemon juice. Make sure
Squeeze
you
it,
have
yeah.
fresh lemons. That's very important. Some people use grapefruit. It has to be a citrus. I like lemons the best, but some people don't like lemon or can't tolerate, so they use grapefruit. You can do that,
Yeah.
whichever is suitable for you. And then there's some tricks to getting the stuff down.
I can tell you all about the tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure the
and-
two of us can have fun with that.
Oh yeah,
who
we're gonna
joins
have
us for
lots
the
of fun
class.
with that. But so those are critical. And the cherry juice has to be the unsweetened, the tart cherry, or some people call it sour cherry, but it's the concentrate that we use actually for people who are struggling with gout. And I've always used it for gout and inflammation. When they'll either do burdock or they'll do the cherry concentrate, and it works so well. So they're both great. Very high in malic acid, which is what's going to dissolve the sludge and the stones, so that you can safely pass those out. And
Yeah,
you'll
can
see
you
them in
explain the process? Can you explain the process and why this is so, as far as, softening the stones and so on?
Well, yeah, so it's it's critical. And so you're going to we're focused in on the gallbladder, but we are affecting the liver, so all of this is a liver gallbladder cleanse. And so if you start to try to push out stones that have not been softened and decreased, you can get it stuck in the biliary duct, and that will cause excruciating pain, vomiting. You will be hospitalized if something like that was to happen. So the body is amazing how it protects you over and over again. And so what's going to happen is you're not going to have discomfort with this at all. You should not have any discomfort. You should actually feel better and better with it. And so don't think that once you start this, oh my God, I'm going to move a stone and I'm going to trap my biliary duct. It does not happen when you're doing it properly. You're going to soften that to where it's kind of like those little gelatin beads that you pour water on and they swell up, that really, really soft.
Yeah.
And so it will just squish down and go through it, and you're going to see it in your stool. And so it's going to leave the liver and the gallbladder. It's going to be dumped into the colon, and you're going to eliminate it out through the stool. Mm-hmm. So
that's very impressive too. That's and that is an extra thing that I would like for all of you to get. Is something I happened to have it because I was going to disprove this is real or not real. And so I got a cheese, like a disposable cheesecloth. Don't get one that's reusable.
Yeah.
Don't get a reusable one. You want a disposable one that you can just toss, because I wanted to capture the stones. And then to get some gloves, because I was like a little like egghead I was just like looking at it, and I had the mindset of a scientist. I was experiencing this, and I was out looking in, and I was looking at it as, like looking at jewelry or whatever, with a lot of protection. And so, but that cheesecloth captured anything that was big enough that I could actually look at.
Mhm.
And I saved it. So maybe for those of you who want to see it, maybe the people that go through the cleanse, maybe I'll do a show and tell.
Show and tell. We'll all do a show and tell at the end. Yeah, and those
Yes.
are it looks like little stones. So it's going to be yellow or green. It could be
Green.
different colors. But those are, what you're looking for. You can also get those kidney strainers that go in your toilet too, because what you can do is when you eliminate in that, then you can pour the water over it. The stool will rinse out and you'll see the stones there. And so that's an easy, way to do it. That you don't have to dig through with a glove.
No, I had gloves. I had I looked like a chemist. Let me just put it this way. I was ready. I was ready. And this is what it's all about. It's about taking your life back. I was almost in a white coat trance.
Mhm.
When the doctor says, oh, you need to have this done, and then, it could get stuck, all these things that could go wrong.
Mhm.
And then you're just like, okay, I hear and obey. But fortunately, I had to pause and get the testing done and get the results done and do all that. And then call my friends that are just like, hello, wake up, come to reality. And that's what we talk about here at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is what I need for all of you. If you're not a subscriber, I don't know why you're not, please subscribe. And for those of you who are tuning in today and you absolutely fall in love with Dr. Jennifer Gramith and you want her information, I'll send you a blog on Sunday for the entire week. Who's going to be on? How can you get a hold of them? You can just click on her name and it'll take you to Rightway Health and Wellness. And you can do that on your own as well, but it's a lot easier for you. And then you get the audio portion sent to you so that you can listen to it at your leisure if you want that sent to you. And so there's so many different ways that we can take our life and our health back, because we've been lied to by so many people that profit from our illness.
Mhm.
Think about it.
It's so true. And, the issue, with them wanting to remove it, the problem is, okay, what does your gallbladder do for you? And so if you remove that, they just go in and they remove it and they leave you hanging. And so what happens is that, months down the road or years down the road, you have a heart attack. Well, why did you have a heart attack? Well, you didn't have a gallbladder to filter out the fats, and they just got thrown into the bloodstream and built up in the arteries. And so, that's not good medicine just to say, hey, take it out, and then not tell them, what they have to be really careful about and how important it is to change their diet and make sure that their liver is cleansed. They don't do that. They just remove it. And it's a disservice. The gallbladder, if you develop gallstones when you're on, and so many people are on cholesterol lowering medications, well, that's a big cause of gallstones. When you don't have enough fiber in your diet, you risk for gallstones, chronic stress, when you're allergic to certain foods and are sensitive to foods, anything that creates inflammation puts you at risk of the gallstones. There's blood sugars being out of balance that causes gallstones. Rapid weight loss. Some people who have done these drastic dieting things and they lose a lot of weight really quickly, because what happens is all those toxins are stored in the adipose tissue, and it's now not in the adipose tissue, it's being squeezed out into the blood and the lymph. And that overwhelms the liver and the gallbladder. And that can cause, gallbladder and liver failure actually too. Yeah. And so, there's so many different causes, and we all are struggling with this. Just, people trying to do these low fat diets put you at higher risk for because, they're not getting the good fats, that the body needs to be balanced. So it's all about balance. You would think that low fat diet would be a good idea and a good prevention, but it is not.
Well, it's interesting that, you were talking about the stones getting stuck. The only time I'd ever heard about that was a friend of mine had his gallbladder taken out, and they didn't remove the stone and went back into and he almost died. And that was from the surgery of taking it out. And then you talk about cholesterol medication and high blood pressure medication, which could lead to dementia. So these medications are not the solution. It's the root cause that I love that you at Rightway Health and Wellness focus on that as well. And so I just want to encourage all of you that are watching today to consider doing this cleanse. If you're interested in it, just you can PayPal me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. And we can, I will, before the event, we will send you the information that you need so that you feel empowered to start resetting your life. And this guy that one of the cleanses that I looked at, but we're going to do a modified version of this. His name is Andreas Moritz, and he did his cleanses for 40 times. And he was a little child that at 6 started his cleanse. So his life changed and he became a naturopathic doctor. So there's so many different ways that this could affect you emotionally and non-emotionally. I want to talk about that maybe later, but I want you to check out Rightway Health and Wellness. Check them out because they are absolutely phenomenal. And so another thing that I want you to know is that you can be a subscriber at and like and follow us so that you know who is in the classroom, and call Dr. Gramith. You know, I'm looking for your number here. And I know, okay, it's at 404-474-2100. You can call the office. And I just want to be clear about this. You can get 20% off your first purchase with Dr. Gramith if you mention the classroom. And you can go, she's in Woodstock, Georgia, but she will take your calls from all over. And by the way, this cleanse is a Zoom. So wherever you're listening from, you can join us with this. You just have to adjust. We will record the session. So those of you who are part of it, we will send you the information that you need. But check out all the information at whenyouneedafriend.com. And like I said, support Dr. Gramith, how she is supporting the classroom, and check out my affiliate sponsors. You can become enrolled student in the classroom and donate your time, your talent, your treasure to help us grow. And of course, you could go to Rightway Health and Wellness, go to Rightway Health and Wellness.com. so that you could check her out as well. Now, before we go into the Teacher's Pet Corner and answer all the questions, make sure you're typing in a Q and write your question down so that I'll ask Dr. Gramith, because we only have 15 minutes afterwards. Is there anything that maybe we didn't cover? Like, I do want to talk about emotions and anger. And that is something that I prayed about, that God would allow me to release some of this anger that obviously was trapped in me.
Right. So, the only thing I would say, Lillian, is for anyone who is considering doing this, that are on a lot of medication, have a lot of, health issues, just to contact my office. I'll do a free consult with them, making sure that, because you're not going to stop your medication during this. And I just got to make sure that it's not contraindicated. So if they have, if they're on any kind of statin drugs, blood pressure medication, or painkillers, contact our office. We'll do a complimentary question and answer with me. It'll take about 5-10 minutes to make sure that they can tolerate this. I can also get in touch with their doctor and make sure that their doctor is okay with it. So that would be the only thing. And then the emotional, you're going to be releasing gall sludge and gallstones, but you're going to be releasing emotion. So a lot of times, many times, you will experience some crying and some joy and, just that emotional release, and it's very much needed. So, I like the fact that you said start on a Thursday and do it over the weekend so that you are not distracted, that you can have some prayer time and some meditation time to process all of the emotions that you start to feel. And so we're going to talk about that the week before, of how to, allow your body to sit with the emotion, feel the emotion, don't suppress it, because that's why you've got a liver issue already. But allow yourself to feel it and then allow yourself to release it. And you'll be amazed how much more you will detoxify when you do that.
There was a sense of peace. Well, when you're doing the cleanse part, we're not talking that much about the cleanse part because that's a combination of things, but I'm sure that Dr. Gramith has some tips. I have lots of tips to give you as well. And has to endure that one day that you're doing this, because I really do want people to take their time and enjoy the process without, Robert looked at me and he goes, my hat's to you. How are you doing that? How are you drinking this Epsom salt? How are you? But you do what you have to do, because a person who is sick only has one dream, and someone who is healthy has lots of dreams to do a lot of things. But when you're sick, you only have one, which is to get better. And what are you willing to do to get better? And, one of the things that I do want to talk about is the fact that the emotional component of it, we set ourselves up for failure many times. And not knowing, I'm the type of person that I go into things without any expectation. And once it's done, I go, oh, let me evaluate it. Let me look at it. I enjoy the process, but some people are not that way. So having us to do this with you is going to be a relief. Also, what would you say to someone, Dr. Gramith, that is not a clean eater and wants to do this cleanse in a 3-day period?
You need the week before, you need to clean up your diet. I would stick with mostly vegetables, a little bit of the low glycemic fruits. If you want to do some of that, go ahead and start doing the broth. You need to prepare your body for this type of cleanse that we're going to be doing. And so definitely, and it's wise for anyone, even if you think you have a really healthy diet, go ahead and, at least a week before, just start cleaning up your diet. No sugar, watch the fats, no fast food, things like that. Eat really lean and clean. Drink lots and lots of water. You can't do this type of cleanse without drinking water. And so you need to, develop a close relationship with water, and you need to love water because it is your best friend. And, one thing is you got to stay well hydrated during this detox. So those are just simple things that I think people need to know about and need to do, because if you start this cleanse from a standard American diet, your healing crisis is going to be great. So I wouldn't even do it. If you're not willing to clean up your diet a few days before the cleanse, then it's probably not for you. But the mental clarity that you get and the energy that you get from just this 3-day cleanse would take, if you're just doing a standard detox program, it would take you probably 8 to 12 weeks of just standard detox, taking supplements and shifting the diet, what you get in that 3 days. So, look forward to it. It's exciting. I'd love to do it. That's why I'm going to be doing it with all of you. And because it's like a veil is lifted off of your brain and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sharp. I can, remember my words, and I'm quick and I feel energy, and it's amazing. It almost makes you to where you don't want to go off of the cleanse, So.
That is true. That is true. And what I did was I pureed all my vegetables once I got the broth out of it. And that was my breaking my fast, was that, and some watermelon. And it was it's loving ourselves. We have been told many times that if you put yourself first, somehow you're selfish. And I think that is another, I wish I could put like those misinformation badges on people's foreheads when they say things like that, because we need to take care of ourselves. And this is a loving way to not only deal with health issues, or maybe just improve our health, but also love ourselves and deal with some baggage. And we'll be talking about all of that through the time that we come together. I promise you, we'll start like a bunch of strangers, and when we end, we will be a family, and we're like, no, let's do this again. So any final words about that?
No,
The process.
I think we covered it. I look forward to it. It'll be an event, and you'll not regret doing it. That's for sure.
I'm looking forward to Sunday morning and hearing
Yes.
or hearing the news of everything that happens for everybody. Once
Right.
again, Dr. Jennifer Gramith, we absolutely love her in the classroom. As you know, I don't have sponsors, but when she came forward and said, I really want to be a sponsor, I said, okay, I know you, and I know that we are really like-minded. So I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Gramith, for wanting to sponsor and support the classroom. So please, all of you, support Dr. Gramith as she is supporting us as well. And one last thing, next week, we're going to have Dr. Bradley Nelson, and we're going to have a giveaway. So if you want him to check out your heart wall, you need to text me at 407-373-5959. We will pick a winner. It's in my blog, so check out my blog. We will pick out a winner on Tuesday, and your names will be put in the winner's basket. And Dr. Gramith, I know you love Dr. Bradley Nelson, so put your name too. You never know, you might get selected to do this during next week's class. So thank you, Dr. Gramith, for everything that you do. Again, rightwayhealthandwellness.com. That's 404-474-2100. Don't go away, because we're going to take care of your conversations or your questions during the Teacher's Pet conversation. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you. It's time to cleanse. It's time to get rid of all that anger and all that crap. So this is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, and Dr. Jennifer Gramith wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. That word.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
I know that doing a cleanse and a fast doesn't sound very sexy, and it wasn't. I will be honest with you, but how I felt and knowing that even what I didn't see, and this is something I didn't say during the podcast that people will miss that just do the podcast, but I had an ultrasound done, and about a month later, I had a CT done because I was beginning to feel some symptoms. It's like peeling an onion. And sometimes you will have, what happens is that it's like a layer, and then you get rid of one problem, and then you discover that you might have another problem, I was telling Dr. Gramith before the class today that they said I had gastritis. For many, many years, I was treated for low acid with acid blockers. And for those of you that are on acid blockers, that is not the answer. That is not the problem. That's not the solution to your problem. And I believe that finally that's come back up. And but I had a CT done, and it was clear. Everything was clear. So awesome. The ultrasound said I had sludge, and who knows what was under the sludge. But then when I had the CT, which is, can you compare the CT to a ultrasound?
And you can see more in a CT than you can in an ultrasound. So the fact that they didn't see any issues with the CT scan is excellent. And so they, if they had done the ultrasound, they'd have saw the same thing, but actually can see more with a CT scan. And they're going to look at, with a CT scan, they're going to look at your gallbladder and your liver and the biliary duct, because, the biliary duct is inside the liver. And so as your body your gallbladder starts to flush out, it goes to the liver, everything is flushed out. So that's beautiful that it happened that quickly. And that's what you typically should experience. And so I was very pleased to hear that.
Yeah. And Dr. I don't know if I told you, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, he wants to do a study with us. So he, if those of you who want to do check your, do an ultrasound and then maybe do a before and after, you can do that. And the results will be sent to Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. And it just so happened that, I was going through an active issue. So I was going through the process. He says, send it to me. What happens is people say, oh, those aren't really stones. Those cannot be stones. But Dr. Teitelbaum said, we'll look at them and we'll say, okay, that's not the real stone or whatever. But let's say the naysayers, he said, when you do this, something happens and something is improved. So that's what I want to look at. And so I thought, okay, you got it. So now I have a ultrasound and a CT, and then I'm going to do another one. So we'll see what happens there.
And plus you can just, anybody who is doing it and have their labs prior and then have their labs after, you're going to see changes in all of the blood markers that, indicate liver dysfunction and gallbladder dysfunction. So you can, just do blood work and see what's going on too. Plus you feel amazing. So there's a lot of tools like that you can use to verify the results that you're getting from a liver cleanse. The naysayers are people who, have issues with anything that's outside Orthodox medicine but without, giving you an answer. Okay, well, what is it then? It's just, it can't be, you can't rejuvenate anything. The body can't rejuvenate itself. It rejuvenates itself every single day. Otherwise you'd be dead. Okay.
That's right.
And the liver is one of the fastest organs that can rejuvenate itself. And so it's constantly, because it's so critical. So isn't that funny how, the most critical organs, the regeneration is very, very quickly. And then, with some of the other organs that are not so necessary, it does take longer to do. And so it's just a beautiful thing. But like I said, you figure out the cause, that's where you're going to find the cure. Your liver issue, you look at the emotional component, you look at the environmental component, look at your dietary stress, look at the emotional stress, all of that plays a role. And it could be 2 or 3 of those items causing your dysfunction. And you want to start, working on those areas because it's your body saying, hey, something's not quite right. Let's do something about it. So thank goodness that our body will have pain or, to tell us before it becomes too late. And so be grateful, that your body does talk to you like that, and that you don't accept this mediocre life of feeling run down and tired and, having no real will to live. And when you start to feel that depressed state, that's a huge sign that something's going on with your liver. So if you feel angry and frustrated all the time and you just don't have the energy to deal with your family, to deal with your, bosses or your employees at work, it's time to do a liver cleanse, start there. Because that's a big signal, before you get the pain where you're doubled over and rushed to the hospital, you'll start to see things like that show up. And so pay attention to your body. Your body is your best friend, and it's trying to help you and keep you at your optimal level. It's constantly working on homeostasis and balance. Your pH can shift minute amount and you can tell a huge difference. If it shifted 2 or 3 points, it could kill you, so just the hair, little bit of a shift can impact you. A little shift of calcium in the blood can impact your overall health. So all of those are, very important. And so it just amazes me the more you learn about the body and how it works. And it's just like, wow, how do you not believe in a God? It's so complicated.
Well, and to add to what you're saying, when you think about the pain or our body speaking to us, what is alternative medicine does? Not alternative. What I call alternative is allopathic. But what the world calls alternative medicine, I call
backwards.
Natural. And so I just wanted to rephrase that. So, people say, oh, you have a fever? oh, take Tylenol. Well, guess what? Your body is fighting a virus. It's heating up your body to kill the virus. I mean,
You're shutting off the critical first line of defense of your
That's
immune
right.
response. And then you wonder, well, why did it get worse? Why did I get ill? Because you shut off the initial response. It's like taking your skin off of your body and thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to be safer if I don't have that first line of defense.
Yeah.
So go straight into your,
That's right. When I had the fever, I said to Robert, well, my body is trying to fight a virus. So I thought maybe I have a virus, and but my body then said, oh, I need to warn you some more, because obviously you're misinterpreting what we're saying. It's not a virus, it's something else. So
well, it could have been. I mean, viruses attack the liver, gallbladder. It creates infection. And so you had infection, or you wouldn't have the sludge and all of that going on.
True.
And so again, that's the problem. And so the fever was saying, hey, you either have, and if you would have looked at your blood and your lymphocytes would have been high, you would have known it was virus. If it would have been the neutrophils, you would have known it was bacteria.
Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my lab work to the process, because
Perfect.
Because I had lab work before and afterwards, because we were looking at other things. So that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all these people who love you. For all the way from Norway, we have Trudy. So thank you so much for joining us, and Annette and everybody that's here. Deidre, so nice to see your name. And Lucian, hi guys, is what she says. So let's see. Tintin wants to know, what is the best kind of food to eat on regular basis to avoid gallbladder issues in the future?
Vegetables.
No, what to eat? Yes, to eat.
So a foundational diet of vegetables, and then moderate to low protein, animal protein. And so it's typically if you follow the normal pyramid diet style is ridiculous. It should be flipped upside down, basically, and some things removed out of it. I highly recommend most of your plate should be just vegetables. Fruit, if you're going to eat fruit, eat the low glycemic, the berries. They're high in antioxidants. They have great things, but eat them in the morning. Eat them away from other foods. And then, if you do eat animal meat, limit it, to no more than a couple of servings, typically a week. That's all you really need to get the amino acids and the Bs that most people need. So that's just a good place to start, doing it like that. But the problem is that, I've studied and researched all of these different diets, paleo, keto, all of the reason they help people is, number one, they get them off the standard American diet and they're eating more vegetables. And that's why they're all successful. So the ones that have meat don't have meat. They're still successful because you're increasing their quantity of vegetables. And those are the critical nutrients your body needs to function properly. And so I would definitely say that week before, just go on, steamed vegetables. You can do some raw, do some juicing, do some broths. And just do that for that week, and prep your body.
Yeah, we've got to anticipate this. It's just like we prepare for the holidays, and we go to the mall and we buy and we get some extra food to greet all our neighbors and our friends and family. Treat this as an event in your life where you are going to love yourself. And so prepare for that. Start preparing the rooms in your house. And when the room in your house is your body, your temple. So just, and the mindset, we will talk about the mindset when we all come together. Now, Kay says, what does it matter if you're fasting for an A1C?
Well, A1C tells you, it does kind of matter. It doesn't have to be fasting for an A1C. It has to be fasting for a glucose or a fasting insulin. And each one of those markers tells you something different. So the hemoglobin A1C is all about the red blood cells. So it tells you how the diabetes is affecting the red blood cell production. Okay, so when the hemoglobin A1C is above 5, you're in trouble and you're definitely diabetic. So that's how they marker. Now your fasting glucose could go up due to the fact that you ate a tub of ice cream last night and your pancreas is having a hard time, balancing that. So that could warrant, that doesn't mean you're diabetic if that doesn't happen on a daily basis. When you check your blood sugar the next morning fasting and it's, 145, you would think, oh my God, I'm diabetic. Not necessarily, but the hemoglobin A1C tells you more long-term. It's, 120 days, which is, the red blood cell production. So it's looking at a longer picture of your diabetes, if you have it or not. Mm-hmm. And so you want to get it below 5 for optimal health.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So Amanda says, loving this. I've had 2 attacks, was told that I had stones in my gallbladder, but I've refused to have my gallbladder removed. I will definitely do the cleanse, but I'm a little fearful. So, that is valid, but let's address those fears. What is causing the fear? Is it the fear of getting better? Or is it the fear of that it's been planted there for us, like this? So
right.
Go ahead, Dr. Gramith.
She's probably fearful that she's going to have another attack by stirring things up. And, I can totally understand that because I know the pain that goes along with a gallbladder attack. So do you. Nobody wants to experience that. But, you don't have to be fearful because like I said, this type of cleanse is not going to cause any discomfort for you, any pain. If something was to happen and you start to feel, pain, then we would have it checked out immediately. But the whole point of doing this is to not have another attack. And so if she's concerned, you can do the protocol, the fast that we tell you, and you can also do some castor oil packs over the liver gallbladder. That continues to soften up, reduce the inflammation, ensures again that you're not going to have blockage in the biliary duct, which is what people are worried about. As the stones move through and out of the body. And so I think it's rest assured, like I said, I've been doing this 20-something years, 25 years, and I've never had a case of that happening, but I do know what to look for. So if you start to have any symptoms, and that's why it's good to do it as a community and you're doing it, under the supervision of someone, we can address it immediately and get you the help you need. But it's not going to be an issue.
No, it's really good to do this when you don't have an attack.
Right.
Whereas with me, I was in the middle of it and just not eating made me feel better.
Right.
And
didn't
so
have to deal with that. Yeah. So the fasting itself helps, prevention wise too. So you can do it acute and as a preventative, measure. But like I said, most people have done it during the acute phase, even though that's not ideal ever, because, you don't want them to be in excruciating pain. But you get them stabilized and you start the thing and there's no risk of it killing you if that's the fear.
Here's the thing. I was on very, very, very strong asthma medication since I was 9 months old. Mm-hmm. And the last one I was on for 9 years was called Xolair. And one time I got an EOB from my allergist and it said, the EOB, which is an explanation of benefit, said chemotherapy. And I thought, chemotherapy? And I was angry. And I called my doctor. I said, are you guys billing me for chemotherapy? I'm not on chemotherapy. You sent me the wrong bill. Mm-hmm. And they came back and said, well, that is the explanation or the closest CPT code to what Xolair is. So it made me think, I've been taking this suppressant all these 9 years, and in comes Dr. Andrew Saul, who taught me, he goes during a commercial break for the radio show. He said, Lily, I can get you off all your asthma medication. And I went, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I said, bring it. And that doctor told me that, vitamin C can kill me, first of all.
Mhm.
And second of all, if I get off my medication, my asthma will come back with a vengeance. And I said, you know what? I'm ready. I'm just ready to stop. I knew, my body knew that this was the right thing to do. And so the fear went away. So when you know that, when you know, and that's another thing, we have numbed our intuition. And so when we do things like this, and I remember the night before, I couldn't sleep, Dr. Gramith. I didn't say this to you. I don't think I did say this to you, but I couldn't sleep the night before. And I think all these ideas of, what if this doesn't work? What if, what if I can't get rid of this? What if, and all these thoughts, but then you come to a point where you say, these thoughts are not of God. They're just not of God. And so that's just another layer that you get to shave off.
Right. Yeah.
It's just another layer.
Yeah.
So
That's,
go ahead.
That's, and that's critical, as you've got to really be confident in what you're doing, but that's why you have to educate yourself. And so in my mind, because I know, what allopathically they have to offer, and I know what happens and where it's, missing, there's gaps into that care. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do that, to just rip out people's gallbladder when it's a critical component to good health. And it puts them at risk for other disease. So it's about quality of life. And like I said, yes, you're in pain with a gallbladder attack. It's very painful, and you have to get it addressed. But it's it's not like the appendix that will rupture and create sepsis in the body. And so you definitely know what you're dealing with, how to deal with it. It works very quickly. Like you said, you just started the fasting, you felt better immediately, because you're giving your body a break. And that's the way that we used to do medicine years and years ago, is when this person was sick, they would fast, and we would give them broth, and, and that's how we nursed them back to health, broth and teas and things like that. I mean, that's what your grandmothers did, and it worked very well. But we have become a society that we don't want to be inconvenienced. We just want to take a pill and get on with our busy day. And that is not healthy. And it's not, we really have to go back to simplifying things and not being so busy that we don't have time to take care of our bodies. I mean, that's insanity. And we're all guilty of that. I know I'm guilty of that. I'm like, I don't have time to go walk today. Well, I know how important exercise is to the body and to my overall health. And as you age, especially, and you don't want to deal with fractures and, osteoporosis and all of that, you better do it, and so it's just really gotten ridiculous where we are in medicine today, and how we are no longer promoting health. We are, but mainstream medicine is not. It's all about disease management. I don't want to manage my disease. I want to be well. I don't want to have a disease. I want to live my life in the best optimal way I can. And that is not going to be from taking pharmaceutical medications. They have their place, and they should be used the way that they were designed to use. Most of them have not been designed to be long-term treatment, and so just like some of the osteoporosis medications that are stopping the osteoclast and all of that, and they never were designed to use long-term. What are doctors doing? Putting them on for years and years and years, and it suppresses their immune, and it just has this ripple effect. So knowing that, what happens when you stay on these medications long-term, statin drugs, blood pressure, all of that long-term, and you think that you're okay, that's a false sense of security. Mm-hmm. You're not okay. The disease process is still brewing because you've not identified the cause of it, and you've not removed the cause of it. Otherwise, you'd be well.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing and tagging and all the sharing that you're doing. She has a question. I think we've responded. she said what food to eat. So I'm not sure. Are you talking about during the cleanse? Because we're gonna, let's see. I don't know what food to eat
Well,
on a
she may
regular
be-
basis.
Yeah. So, just the healthy diet, like we have talked about so many times with the fruits and vegetables. But I think, because there's different gallbladders. Some people are, familiar with the gallbladder flush that you talked about, that's 6 days long. You're not fasting, you're eating through that. So there's certain foods that you can eat during that type of fast. I prefer the 3-day fast over that, but this would be good, Lillian, for people who are diabetic that don't feel like they can fast for 3 days, or that have other, health issues and are taking certain medications that they can't go off of. Because ideally, you would eliminate any medication that you don't absolutely have to have for that 3 days, because your liver has to process and metabolize all of that medication. That's why you don't do supplements, so the only supplements you really can do on a fast is like minerals and just basic stuff, no cleansing, things like that.
Yeah.
So because it puts more stress on that liver that we're trying to de-stress. But maybe that's what she's talking about. And so that could, you could send her a copy of that one that kind of tells you the diet plan. But it's really, again, it's just eating lots of vegetables, steamed, and a lot of broth. You can do vegetable broth or bone broth. All of those are acceptable.
Yeah.
And then do the low glycemic fruits. So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Lorraine says, hello, I am 95% plant-based and was recently diagnosed with chronic cholecystitis, gallbladder dysfunction. Hey, welcome to the club. Yay. Okay. So they say I have no stones, just sludge. That's what they said with me, because they couldn't find the stones. Would this cleanse possibly help?
Most definitely. And that's what I had. And that's what they told me too. But you do have stones typically when you have sludge. And so they're just they don't really talk about gallbladder stones in allopathic medicine. I remember when I was a nurse, they're like, no, stones, whatever, kidney stones maybe, but no gallstones. And, but you will see them. And so all they're saying is the fluid is very sludgy. And it's full of, there's an imbalance in the salts of the gallbladder. A lot of times you have a gallbladder, I meant to bring this up earlier, your gallbladder is dysfunctioning or is not functioning properly because the heart is needing the sodium. So it's the dominant organ, it's pulling it from the gallbladder. So it could be early signs of cardiovascular disease starting in the heart, but it's going to pull that sodium that it needs from the gallbladder, and that causes the sludge. Without that balance. So it's critical. So a lot of times a person will have the gallbladder removed, not realizing that it's actually a cardiac issue, and then later have a heart attack due to the fact that they didn't resolve the actual problem, what caused the sluggish gallbladder.
Wow.
So it's very safe for her to do. And it's very effective for her to do. So anybody who has a known dysfunction of the liver gallbladder, I say do it twice a year, as a prevention, and you'll be amazed at how well everything else, your digestive system will work better, cardiovascular system, all of that.
There was a question about insomnia. Jennifer wants to know if this will help with chronic insomnia.
It could. I know I sleep well when I do fasting. And the fact that you're doing the magnesium, and so you can do the Epsom salts for sure. If people have a really hard time, there's some topical magnesium that you can use. And, magnesium in itself is like a tranquilizer. It helps you to sleep and sleep deeply. But I think, if it is related, if your insomnia is related to the liver dysfunction, which a lot of times it is, then you will see a drastic change in your sleep patterns when you do the cleanse. And those are for people who are usually waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. And that's a sure sign that, hey, your liver, is not functioning properly. Your liver is what's waking you up, saying, hey, fix me.
That's right. I mean, our body speaks to us all the
All the
time. We
time.
just need to listen and lovingly reply, not get out of here. I don't have time for you, because
Right.
eventually it will just like hit you with a 2x4 and say,
Exactly.
listen to me now.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. I'm looking for cues, but I think I see a question mark here, but I need cues. So to know, my Kimberly says my ultrasound showed 6 stones in a row stuck in the bile duct. It was been 8 months there. I have been able to manage my symptoms now. I have liver pain instead of gallbladder pain. Does this make sense?
Yeah, because the bile duct is in the liver. And so it's kind of like up in the middle of the liver. So you definitely are going to have more pain in the liver. A lot of people can't identify it. They just know they have right flank pain,
Yeah.
So
Oh
they
yeah.
don't know if it's liver, gallbladder, or kidneys, So she's very in tune with her body. So that's really good. But this will, like I said, it's not just a gallbladder flush, it's a liver gallbladder flush. It will flush out that sludge and those stones from the bile ducts, which is what causes you a lot of pain. That obstruction is dangerous, for
Yes.
function of your liver. That's how the body filters. So definitely need to, in 8 months of suffering with that is crazy.
Well, this would open up her tubes, right? And
Yeah, it's
maybe
gonna
it will help
dilate
her
them.
pass it.
Yes, she will pass it.
I've never
And
heard of anybody having that kind of
I have.
blockage.
I have
Yeah.
a lot of pancreatic cancer patients will have a biliary duct blockage, and
Oh,
they're in excruciating pain. And so it usually, the obstruction is right there where it branches off into the liver. It's right there in the middle, and so it causes total dysfunction of the whole liver.
oh,
And it's very, very painful. And so definitely she wants to do this in order to cleanse that out and get rid of that once and for all. She may have to do it now and then do it another time in about 3 months. You don't do them back to back.
no.
Definitely she would just stay on a really clean, healthy diet. She could definitely do the cherry concentrate with apple cider vinegar. She could do that daily.
You can mix the cherry and the apple cider.
You can. It's just that it's not as good as in the apple juice. I love the flavor of the apple juice and the
I do
apple
too.
cider vinegar. Or she
Yeah.
can just take capsules of apple cider vinegar and drink
Okay.
the cherry juice every day. But it's just going to be just a natural little cleanse and continue to get rid of the sludge without doing the full cleanse. But she needs to do a full flush like we're going to do, and then continue that for a while.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it all. Before you know, it's done. And like
Yeah.
I said, I wanted to start this on a Thursday because when I started it, happened to be a Friday. And so I had Saturday, Sunday, and then on Sunday, that's when you do your cleanse. And then on Monday, you'll want to go to work if people work. And so Monday I had the day, of course, to stay home. And that's the day you release the stones. So
Right.
I want to back it up so that the day you release the stones is
Sunday.
on Sunday.
The
And
day
then
of
we start
rest.
on Thursday. But here's what I'd like to encourage you all, because part of this is the busyness in our life and not taking the time to really love our body. And so I just want to encourage you to clear out your schedule. Don't be out there, visiting with people, working out or anything. Just make sure that you have, if you do have to work, just make sure you have your broth, make sure you have your apple juice. And we'll talk all about that when we first meet. But I just want people to just clear your schedule, make a date with yourself, to love yourself that entire weekend, whether it's prayer or just, watching television that you wanted to watch, or reading a book that you've been wanting to read, meditating in God's word. I mean, whatever it is, we'll address it all. So again, the date that we're going to be meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. So put these dates in your calendar. If you intend to do this, email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com right there. Or you can text me at 407-373-5959 that you're in and you want to do this. The day that we're going to gather, so you're going to get the information packet before. because I'm going to send this, but this is going to be, we're going to do the modified, because this has so much information about the gallbladder and the liver, and it's, what to expect and all of that. But this is not the cleanse. This is just information that will enhance the cleanse. It'll kind of answer some questions. And so, you're going to get that before. And then on the 8th, on Monday, Eastern time, 7 p.m., we're going to come together and we're going to have a gathering. Dr. Gramith will share some of the things to expect, and we'll have an open forum where you can ask some questions. And then the fast starts on 11/11/21, which is a Thursday. So if you're going to be working on that day, just make sure you have a light day and no stressing over what needs to be done. And then on Sunday, that's the big explosion, the Big Bang Theory. And so then and then we're going to be meeting at 9 a.m. As we do this cleanse. So to answer questions, to kind of like, support one another, pray for one another, whatever it is that we need on that day. And then we'll gather. Now, if you can't make that time because you're busy or whatever, it's going to be recorded. And for those of you who are paying for the fast, then I'll send you the recording. So at least you'll feel a part of it. Okay. Sure. Anything else that you can think of, Dr. Gramith?
Nope. I just look forward to it. Can't wait.
I know. Yeah. Oh, do you have time for one more question? Sure. Okay. And this is from Myrna. I know an individual who has cirrhosis of the liver that takes daily medication to rid ammonia buildup. If not, they go into heavy duty brain fog. Is it too late for a liver cleanse for that individual?
No, but that would be one of those individuals that I would want to do a consult with prior to and go over their medications. And there may be a few things that I would add that they take during that time to flush out and not have, definitely gets rid of the ammonia, but no, it would be critical for a person like that, but don't do it without the guidance of the doctor.
That's right. Anybody who shows up for this cleanse is taking their own responsibility, that you've checked it out. You're certain that this is okay. It's fortunate that we have Dr. Gramith with us, but you, like I said, and when I say all the time, this has to be your thing that you want to do, because there's going to be a lot of naysayers, and you're going to have to decide if this is something that you want for yourself. Not that we're forcing you to do it or anything to that effect. Also, you're going to discover, even if you think you feel good, once you're done with this, you're going to learn that you could feel better. And that's going to open a bunch of possibilities for you, knowing that you could feel better.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Yep. And getting better every day, like you always say.
That's right.
This is one way to do it. Yeah.
That's right. And most people don't even know that if they have a diagnosed condition, it's probably affecting their liver.
Well, yeah, the liver would probably be connected to the diagnosis. And so if they address the liver, let's see what happens to that diagnosis, that function of that organ and gland. And so it doesn't matter if you name anything, it's connected. I mean, almost everything is connected with the liver function. Like I said, it has over 500 processes. So it doesn't matter if it's type 1, type 2 diabetes, liver, if it is cardiovascular health, liver, if it is even neurological, definitely neurological, you look at liver too. So there's so many disease processes that you really should. And we as practitioners are trained to, the first thing that we look at is the detox pathways. So the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the kidney, the colon, the lymphatic system. Without addressing those systems, you're not going to get anywhere with treatment protocols. And so that's the first thing that we are always trained to look at. And so we look at the blood, we do the bowel scans. Some practitioners do muscle testing. Some of them just look at your tongue, look at your eyes, look at your skin, look at your nails, look at your texture and your hair, all of that. are ways that we can discover what's going on at a more cellular level in the body. And that's what you need to get to. And none of us are perfect. And some of us are born with more weaknesses than others. And you just need to know what's going on in your body. It's your body. I mean, you check your car out and you want to know what's going on in your car. You take it to the mechanic and you make sure that they do a full analysis so that you're not stranded on the side of the road. Do the same for your body. Make sure you check everything out, and you get those annual blood tests. And if you have an issue, get the blood tests, get the scans, get everything. Make some changes, because if you keep living the same lifestyle, you're going to get the same results, and it's going to get worse. But if you change your diet and your lifestyle, and you try to address those things that are showing up early on, you can avoid ever dealing with a disease process. And so if you truly want to know how to never be sick again, you need to know what's going on with your body. And so that's what, we're all trying to really discover. Okay, well, how important is it for me to have that, blood test or blood work? Oh, I'll do it next month, or I'll do it next year. It's critical. It's critical.
Yeah. I want to, there's a question here. It says James said, and I'm just looking at this, just got on, do coffee cleanses help us?
Most
it's
definitely.
Wanda. Thanks, Wanda.
Yeah, so coffee enemas. And that's the best way to drink your coffee, is through an enema. And so
I'd hate to see that counter when you start drinking from the coffee from the coffee bar.
And anybody with a biliary duct issue, with a blockage or sludge in the biliary duct, I highly recommend it, because it's a vasodilator. So in order to get those to move out, you're going to have to dilate those vessels. And it works really well. So, those people with those are some of the things that I would add on if I know what's going on with them. I may say, during this fast, you're going to have to do a coffee enema every day. But not everybody has to do that. It's not everyone is in the same boat. No, but certain people would need to do that.
So one last question from Angie. Is fatty liver cured with a cleanse? And we have to, the word cure is what I'm having an issue with here.
Right. And so, because the body cures itself, the body heals itself. We don't really do anything except to remove the obstacles that have caused the dysfunction in the first place. And so, I understand you will see a difference in doing a liver flush with a fatty liver. And so again, because what we're doing, we're cleaning everything out. All the junk that's causing the dysfunction in the liver is going to be moved out. That's what will cause it to start to shrink. You're going to have to do it multiple times when you have a fatty liver. Fatty liver these days are, a lot of people, it's due to alcoholism, things like that. But the majority, no, it's due to the standard American diet. It's due to the stress. It's due to the hormone imbalance. And so there's so much more to it than that. But it definitely will be great, significant benefit. Mm-hmm.
I know. And people don't know until they start doing these things, how good it is. And for men, for the men that are watching, this guy, Andres Mortis, he had prostate issues, and his prostate issues went away after he started doing these cleanses as well. He did about 40 of them in his lifetime. And so those are the things that we don't know until we do them, and they're harmless for the most part, especially if you do what you need to do. So like Dr. Gramith said, and by the way, just let them know that you heard from Dr. Gramith in the Lillian McDermott radio show. And if it's your first time calling, and if you want to buy anything or purchase anything from Rightway Health and Wellness, that's 20% off your first order only. And so you can call Dr. Gramith at 404-474-2100. And that's Rightway Health and Wellness.com. That's an A&D. Rightway Health and Wellness.com. So Dr. Gramith, you are an amazing woman, and I am so looking forward to partnering with you in doing this because it's going to be, I mean, as fun as you can have in a fast, we're going to do it, right?
That's right. We always do. We always have a blast.
Yes. So if you're interested in doing this fast, go ahead and email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com, and I can guide you from there. This is something that we are going to help spirit, mind, and body. And if something is stirring in you and you feel like you want to do this, answer the call, because the best things in life that I've ever done started with yes. And all you need, if you're fearful or whatever, all you need is 20 seconds of courage to take that first step. I think we all have that courage of 20 seconds. And so do whatever your body needs to get better. And I thank you, Dr. Gramith, that you're going to be leading the pack with your wisdom for all of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait. Look forward to it.
Yes. And thank you all for watching today. We will see you soon.